Oh yeah, rock and roll all night, party every day. Hello there, and welcome to Melbourne UnReal, where we are mastering music, mastering life. I'm your host, Tony Jack the Bear Mance, and we're coming to you from Deluxe Mastering here in Melbourne, Australia, the world's most livable city. And I'm so happy to have as my special guest today my good friend, my brother, Mike Elrington.
G'day, man.
G'day, mate.
Pleasure.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a while.
Has been a while. We should do this more often.
We should, man. We should. Fuck, it's hard catching up with people, isn't it? When you have so many friends and so many colleagues that are your friends, because you know, in this industry, a lot of our friendships come out of our professional relationships too, and
absolutely.
And we're all well-meaning. We all want to catch up and get together, but life, does get in the way, and you're a guy that tours a lot and gets around quite a bit, and it's hard. But no, man. But sometimes that space is good. It's that familiarity breeds contempt sometimes.
Sure, absolutely.
So when you get to not see each other for a while, it's like that's why I thought, fuck, we'll do a podcast, man, because at the end of the day, we're just having a conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just that we got 3 or 4 other people just fucking, excuse me, checking us out. So what's been happening with you, my friend?
Lots of touring. Had my busiest year ever last year. Did 130 shows across Australia, New Zealand, and England. And new album's been out for a few months. 2 Lucky Stars. So that's been doing good. And fatherhood. Got 2.
Hang on, I've got the album. Hang on, I've got a copy of the album here. Yeah. Just so people know it's. There it is. That's my signed copy, bitches. Go out and fucking buy it. It's fantastic. So, anyway, mine's signed too. So, yeah. So anyway.
Lots of touring. This year I've done 34 shows across 4 states already, and off to Canberra this weekend, Arnhem Land next week, Sydney the week after. It just keeps rolling on. But fatherhood has been the biggest thing that's happened in my life over the last couple of years. 2013 we had Willow, our little daughter. She's 2.5 now. And about 3 months ago we had River, young River Cash.
Yeah.
We called him a little boy. So yeah, it's been great.
It's a big thing, isn't it?
Huge.
Becoming a parent.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when we had Tom Larkin on a couple of podcasts back, and it was really nice actually to hear him say, the first thing he says, I'm a dad and I've got kids.
Yeah.
Before we even got to the music, and I thought that was really, really lovely, and it's nice to hear you straight away talk about the parenting thing, because that's a fucking tough gig, man.
Yeah, but it's if you're in the right sort of frame of mind and the right sort of temperament within yourself, I think it can do so much for you internally as a person, mentally and emotionally. It can just. I guess it can do one or two things. It'll either bring the best or the worst out of you, because it adds this new level of responsibilities, and some people call it pressure, that you didn't have before. So there's a lot of adjustment that just has to be made. You don't have the choice anymore. You just have to be there for them.
Yeah.
But I've loved it so much. It's made what I do better, and I've had a better career since having the kids. I've worked harder, worked smarter. I don't just consider myself now. It's really about, well, what can I do to not just please myself, but how can it help them, my family, and it's great. It just gives your life that deeper, more meaningful sense of purpose.
I think it changes the shift from me to we, and I think in my case I didn't take to it very well in the beginning, but my story is a completely different story. But sadly, I think it's interesting because we are here to procreate and we reproduce and have kids. I think sometimes there's maybe an automatic assumption that just because you can bear children, that automatically within your DNA you'll set out to be a father, or women are. Some people are naturally, some women are not naturally maternal. Some guys are not naturally paternal.
Yeah, absolutely.
As I said, I struggled with mine. My first 2 did better with the other one, but it's like I said, it's a whole different story. But it's really nice, man, just to hear you come on and say that you're loving fatherhood and it's been a game changer for the better.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and nothing will beat it. There's no gold record or sellout bloody fucking arena show. There's no piece of success or great moment in the music business. Not taking anything away from those, but they can be great too. But there's nothing that beats having kids. That's just, and creating a life and being a huge centre of influence for that life. There's nothing better than that. That's the ultimate, as far as I'm concerned.
And it's the ultimate way of leaving a legacy behind.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
To be able to raise kids that become good citizens, productive citizens, and who then in turn do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so on. You know, so good on you, man. That's fucking awesome.
Ah, love it, man. It's great.
So what's been going on your touring schedule and?
Yeah, so this year I've done tours so far, Northern Territory. I've just come back from a 3-week album launch tour, so I did 5 shows in Queensland, did Brisbane, Toowoomba, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast and Eumundi, and then down to Sydney. So I did Sydney, Newcastle, 2 in Sydney, Newcastle and Wollongong. Last Friday I did the album launch for Melbourne at the Flying Saucer Club in Elrington last Friday night, so that was really nice. Had a great crowd come down for that, and I hired a big band, had a string section, 2 violins, a cello, keys, 3 backing singers. Chris Wilson, got him to come down and sing.
Oh, I love Chris Wilson, man.
Sing and play some harp. He was on the album.
He's a fucking legend, isn't he? Dead set legend.
Yeah. So, and that was a lot of fun doing that. So hopefully that comes out well, and that'll be the next thing I get you to master, mate.
Yeah, no, for sure. We've done a few albums now. Haven't we? We've done four. We've worked at 4 albums and 1 EP.
Or 3 albums and 1
3 albums and 1 EP.
Yeah. So
3 albums and 1 EP.
Yeah, it's been a great ride, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Always loved coming in here, and as the final stage of the record making process, and normally by that you just fucking over it and you just want to get it done.
Yeah, no doubt. It's funny because it happens a lot, man. Bands will come in, do a record, and they're done with this, and and you're thinking, "Fuck, this is awesome! It's such a great record," and I say, "Oh man, we've already fucking written the next album. We just want to get it out and just fucking get on to the next one." Yeah, absolutely. There's just no sort of time lag for things to absorb. Just boom over it, and the backlog increases over time.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. It's
never stops.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was saying before that I think the way I see it these days, I'd be interested to get your take on it. But I think just with the way the industry is and how record sales, or there's no real income anymore from record sales. I mean, not that there was I think there was a bit of a misconception that people thought, even back in the day, in the so-called halcyon days, that artists made a lot of money from record sales. There certainly were the sales, but
the record companies
certainly, yeah, absolutely, for the most part, and usually bands ended up in debt. But these days, I think now the smart operators like yourself, who, and even back then, it still needed. Even back then, bands still needed relentless fucking touring.
Yeah.
Relying on merchandise sales and stuff like that. So, and living on the road isn't easy, man.
No, but you get used to it. I mean, I've been touring for 12 years now, and I always wanted to travel. As a kid growing up, I always looked at other kids that were had wealthy parents and could afford to go overseas and go to New York or go to LA, and I just always wanted to travel and see the world, and so this is the perfect occupation for me to do that. And yeah, it can be tough, but fuck, staying in the one place, rocking up to the same office, doing some job you don't want to do that you feel stuck in every day, that's a hell of a lot fucking worse.
I agree.
I agree. And I've done that. I did that for 10 years. I had day jobs for 12 years. I worked call centres, telemarketing, all the
the usual suspects,
muso jobs, and I was good at them for a while there. I was good at selling shit on the phone, but I got tired of it pretty quick, and got to the point where I was tired of being a part-timer. So right, I've got to be a full time on something.
But that takes balls, man. You know, I think there's a lot of musos would love to get out there and live the dream, and living the dream. I guess is even if you can make enough to cover your costs and pay your rent. Sell a few records at shows, sell some merch. Do what have you, and maybe even getting stuff sold for publishing, an ad, film,
movie or
TV show, all that kind of stuff is great. But still, man, it's like with anything. The hardest part is taking the first step, isn't it? And having that belief in yourself that I can do this, because everyone can be around you and say, "Oh, mate, you're fucking awesome. You're great. But until you take it on and embrace it and know it to be true, it's going to be really hard to go out there and be convincing in what you're doing.
Yeah, it takes time to build that, but I think that's got to be paramount for any artists out there that whether you're a solo artist like myself or you're a band, you've got to have total fucking conviction in what you're doing without being too ego-driven or too arrogant about it, which is another problem that a lot of artists tend to have too, especially if they've had a little bit of success. It can go to their head easily. But you've got to be totally convinced that it's good and that it will be valuable, not just in a monetary sense, but valuable emotionally to the people that choose to give their time to it for 1 or 2 hours at a pub on a Friday night. You've got to make their fucking night, mate. That's one of my main objectives. Every time I play, whether I'm doing a really hard little bar gig in front of a bunch of drunks that don't really give a fuck, but it's my job. I feel it's my job to make them give a fuck, or at least some of them. And if I can get one of those guys come up to me at the end of the night and go, "Man, that was just fucking wicked. I wasn't expecting that. Most of the guys we have in here, they're just not like you. You really gave us something. Can I buy you a CD? Can I buy you a drink?" That to me is, when I can achieve that, I feel like I'm on purpose and I'm doing my job.
You've done your job. And before we talk about ego, and I think that to do that or to come to that place, that really does require you to really be able to put your ego to the side, because then, like you said, you're on purpose. You're coming from a place of I'm here to serve. I'm here to provide. I'm here to give value, and nothing else. And I'm not doing this because I'm seeking any kind of validation from you, or this is where I find my significance. I'm already fine as I am. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, and then that comes across, and so that's where you connect with the audience, don't you?
Absolutely.
And that's where they feel it coming from you. It's like the difference between the band or the artist that'll go to a gig and they're just going through the fucking motions because at the end of the night they're going to get their whatever and a drink card and what have you, and the guy that's there or the band that's there because they see that as their lives are depending on it type deal.
Absolutely.
I remember one great example of that was I saw Spy versus Spy, or V Spy versus Spy, as they know now, at the Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto. I think it was 87 or maybe it was 88. Anyway, 3-piece band. There was only 4 people in the whole fucking place, and these guys played like there may as well have been 300,000 people.
They just smashed
and the fucking energy that came off the stage and the electricity was just, man, the hair on the back of your neck standing up. It's like, my God,
it's infectious, isn't it?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. You've got to, I think, one main goal of every artist should be to present that type of energy on every fucking gig. Don't get negged out. Don't rock up to a bar and there's no one coming tonight, or the barman's got the shits, or the pub manager said you didn't bring anyone. You can't let any of that affect your train of thought and what you're going to bring to that room. Whether there's 4 people there, 40, 400, it doesn't. The quantity of the audience is really quite irrelevant. I think it's about the quality of the energy and the love and the feeling that you can give to them.
Yeah, most definitely.
In the short amount of time that you've got them for, 2 or 3 hours out of their week.
Yeah.
And
how many times we hear, you hear stories about how, bands are getting discovered, and usually, they were playing at some bar in, I don't know, buttfuck North Queensland somewhere, and someone happened to be there that either was a record company guy or someone that knew a record company guy and said, "Hey, you gotta fucking check this out," or radio. Do you know what I mean? Or man, whatever. you just never know, and so that's why it's important. And it's that old. I know it's a bit cliche, but it's like your best, the best record, the best performance you've done should be the last one you've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how you, and that's where you tend to be measured by.
Absolutely.
You know, because it's great to say, well, yeah, I'm a bit soft at the moment, but but I still did that mind blowing gig last year or 2 years ago. That's gone. It's forgotten.
No one's going to care about that.
It's absolutely finished.
Yeah.
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 I actually remember, dude, when you rang me one day a few years ago, and I mean, I know you've been touring for a while, but there was that time, I don't know, I'm kind of guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, it would have been 3, maybe 4 years ago, where there was a time where you really wanted to step up the touring, and you rang and you were really fucking enthusiastic and said, Jack, fucking right, I'm stepping it up now, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to fucking do this production, I'm going to fucking get some kids online, I'm going to fucking get involved with kids doing, records, and this is all this idea you had in your head, but you've actually done it now, you're doing it, like you. I remember there was that decision where you said, right, I'm really fucking going for it now.
Yeah, I reached a point where I'd been, like I said before, I'd been a part-timer for a long time, and part-time, shitty day job, part-time music, still touring a lot, not making enough. And about 4 years ago, I sort of reached a point where it's like, okay, I'm tired of being a part-time. I want to be full-time at the thing that I love the most, the thing that I'm most passionate about. That's music. No more other shit. Fuck it. And there's no turning back now. It's just total conviction. I've got to make this work. So stepped up the touring. Instead of doing 80 or 90 gigs a year, I do 130, 140. Go to more new places. There's so many places to play. There are more gigs out there than any of us can handle. Now, a lot of people will probably disagree with me on that, but because there's so much negative rhetoric going around. So musicians say, there's no work anymore, there's no gigs around. Bullshit. There are more fucking gigs out there than any of us can handle if we get off our ass and do it. So I just got out there and kept working it, and the production side of things, because I've been making records for 12 or 13 years now. It's something I've always wanted to help other young artists do, and I've been doing that for a few years now, and since I started I've probably helped produce 5 or 6 albums now. I'm in the middle of two at the moment, and I love it. It's just great being able to try and inspire and engage young artists who are new to the industry and new to pro recording, and just to show them how good they can sound if they want to make a record and do it properly. And it's just inspiring. I love it. So production's something I definitely want to keep doing more of and get more involved in it.
Just going back to what you're saying about all the gigs, one thing I find, and again, this is just through feedback from other artists and people that I've worked with, they say that if you can get out into regional Australia, or I guess even in any country, I don't know exactly what the culture's like, but I suppose even America or England, you've been out there. It's great to work in the big cities or the medium cities, but, here, for example, you do a gig in Melbourne at a bigger venue, that's great. But if you do a gig, say, in Swan Hill or Bendigo or Ballarat or Euroa, or Bright or, anywhere in the regional Australia, it's a big event in the country. So people make an effort. So they come out and you don't get the fucking, okay, well, fucking impress us now.
We've said it all before.
Yeah. But also because on that given night, there is so much, there's sport for choice. Yeah. Whereas, out in the regional Australia, whether it's a DJ, whether it's a band, whether it's a solo artist, just something new and unique that's coming to town is a big deal. So the kids, they're going to have a good time because it's a novelty, and they put that effort in, man. And have you found that experience?
Absolutely. If it wasn't for regional touring, I would not survive. That's where it's at the moment, because a lot of my touring is regional. I'm talking, outback Northern Territory, far north Queensland, remote WA. I do a lot of that stuff.
Where's the most remote place you've been to?
Arnhem Land.
In
Northern Territory. I'm
Right.
going up there next week.
Yeah, right, cool.
I've been up there 5 times now. The last couple of times I've been up there doing supports for Dallas Frasca.
How's she going, man? She's fucking killing it.
Oh, great. Yeah.
She's such a cool chick.
That was a lot of fun.
Fucking awesome, boys. I remember Jeff Lang was telling me, I think the most the most way out fucking gig was where he was ferried by like a 2-hour helicopter trip into some remote fucking mining town, WA or Northern Territory, but anyway, somewhere so far removed to play to just a very small bunch of guys, you know. But he had a great time. It was just, you know, I mean, just the adventure. Imagine like an hour or 2-hour fucking helicopter trip to get, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love doing stuff like that in the regional areas, especially the really far remote. I have some of my best gigs ever, and you get really well looked after. They really, you know, show their appreciation. They give you a good deal. They really look after you. You know, they feed you. They give you a nice room to stay in, and they show you around. And I love Arnhem Land. It's just such an amazing part of the country, and you know, I've gotten to meet like all the Unipingu people that are up there, and
so they're the traditional custodians.
Some of them, they're part of the elders, and the Yothu Yindi, all those that family, because they're a pretty big family, and I've gotten to meet some of them and hang out with them, and they're just the most beautiful people, and some of them are just their grasp with music and how talented they are, and just to hang out with, it's just been amazing up there.
That's the thing, man. You know, we don't have in this country, you know, we have an indigenous people that have been here for what, 30, 40 plus, probably more fucking thousand years. For all we know, you know, certainly longer than us.
Yep.
And yet we have, and you know, even myself, man. I mean, I have virtually no contact with hardly anything indigenous or anyone indigenous. I mean, and you know, so you've been kind of lucky, man, because you've been in touch with, you know, with Indigenous Australia, with the people, with the you know,
a little bit.
And well, more than me, and more than most other people that fucking live in the city. You know, there's one guy who I've really been turned on to, and I put the word out, and I'm hoping to get him on the podcast soon. And that's an MC called Briggs.
Oh yeah.
And I've just been, I've been living under a fucking stone, man, because I didn't know anything about him until about 2 months ago. I had a workshop here, and one of the kids, I think it's in Swan Hill, he knew him. He said he's a mate of his, and I started looking into him, and I fucking love him, man. He's fucking awesome, and you know, he's been on TV, done a couple of interviews, he was on the BBC the other day, and I'm just hanging out to meet him, man, because he just seems like a fucking really awesome, down to earth dude. And again, you know, I'm just fascinated to learn more about. You know, again, I'm not going to become an expert in Indigenous affairs by talking to 2 or 3 people. No, but it's different when you actually get to hang out with.
Yeah, I think it's so important to try and hang out with them and just give them a bit of time, and because some of them, the ones I've met, especially up there in Arnhem Land, is some of the most beautiful people, and they don't have this I can't fucking attitude. They're really nice, welcoming, and they're just great to hang out with. They're cool people.
We could learn so much from, man. I mean, even the way people just, you know, they're in touch with nature. They live on the land. They know how to live sustainably. They've done it for, you know, thousands and thousands of years, and you know, we just lost touch with it, man. We've just completely fucking lost touch with nature, and we're just so out of fucking sync with her. And yet, you know, these people, you know, they got it down, man. They just know exactly. Exactly. You know, absolutely.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there. I love going up there. Going up there next week again. I'll be up there for a week, and I always get to go out to these sacred sites, like these sacred Aboriginal watering holes. And go swimming and just do all this stuff that I would just never be able to do if I wasn't a touring musician that where they wanted me to come and play for them. So it's just a lot of fun getting to see those places like that, meet people like that. And I love the touring life. If I have a break from it, or if I stop for too long, I kind of get a bit depressed.
Get the itch.
Yeah, I just, you know, I mean, I have an office at home where I work and, you know, do all the booking and all the management and all that sort of stuff. Spend a lot of time in there. But if I'm there for too long without going on the road, I kind of, Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife gets the shits with me too. She's
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
So I got the opposite. See, a lot of people say, "Oh, when are you going to come home? When are you going home? You're not home enough." Whereas me, it's like, when are you going out on the road again?
Okay.
go and fucking make some money for the family.
Yeah.
You know.
Kids need new shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, just going back to this whole, this production mentoring thing you're doing. I think it's awesome that you're doing it because, I mean, you're younger than me, but you do get to an age and a time when you feel like, okay, I've accumulated a certain amount of experience, and no doubt you and I have been beneficiaries of having people that have been supportive of us and mentoring us and guiding us and giving us some direction. So, I think as you get older, and if you've been, blessed enough to have been able to carve out a living doing what you love doing, then you, I feel you have an obligation, you have a duty to pass on knowledge and not just hold back and sort of say no, because that's kind of scarcity, and I don't think that's a really good place to be coming from. But we have an obligation to do that, Mike. And
I think so, especially with the younger kids that are coming into the business that want to do music but don't really know. They've just got no idea how to do it, and they're quite vulnerable. They tend to listen to negative bullshit opinions from parents and friends. There's no money in music, and you can't play guitar for a living, and you got to go get a real job. There's a lot of that shit around, and there always has been, and that's the way that the mainstream traditional fucking education system is set up, and hopefully that one day might change a little bit for the better. But I think it's so important that people like us that have been around for a little while, that have accumulated some knowledge, some experience, have some runs on the board. It's so important that we pass that knowledge on, because we're not going to be fucking here forever, and we want to, I think, aim towards leaving some type of legacy to people younger than us.
Absolutely.
To carry that flame when we're gone.
It's still, I mean, that whole story you're talking before, it's so typical of, parents, all well-meaning, who want their, they kind of feel that there's only the traditional route of making a living, and the problem with the traditional school system is that they take us through life in a very left brain kind of way, and teach us that life is linear, and life is anything but linear. You just don't go from, a school, degree or trade, marriage, children, dogs, cats, cars, holiday, boat, and build up your super,
then death,
and and then it's no wonder so many people on their deathbed who look back with regret of,
I wish I'd done that.
I wish I'd done that. Oh, why didn't I do this?
Yeah.
And by that time it's too late, and that's the tragedy. And I remember once I saw this blog. It's called the top 5 regrets of the dying. It was written by this nurse who worked in a palliative care hospital, and for many years, and she list, and I remember the first time I read it, it was just like this fucking. I had regrets in other areas, but still there were things. I mean, it was like, not being happy in what I was doing, living my life according to the wishes of others, not allowing myself to be happy, not spending enough time with my children. And that to me was just like, wow, that was a real game changer.
Oh yeah. And going back to what we were saying before, with helping out young kids, it's so important that we set an example and make them feel like, yes, you can do this. You don't have to do what you don't want to do. That you think society says you have to do, because that's not going to make you happy.
No.
That's going to get you stuck. In 10 years' time, you'll be paying off a fat fucking mortgage, maybe with a whinging wife that, stuck in a job you hate, and you're 400 or 500 grand in debt, and just unhappy because you're on this never-ending treadmill of doing something that you don't want to do.
It is slavery.
That is that job. It is a form
it's
of
slavery.
It's total slavery
without the chains. It's absolutely fucking slavery.
It's total slavery, and look at all the people that subscribe to that model that end up sick with alcohol, addicted to alcohol, drugs, smoking, poor health. By the time they're 40, 50, they've got diabetes, or they've got
cancer, everything. All these
problems.
all preventable diseases.
Absolutely.
All preventable. You know, so it's an epidemic. But I think slowly but surely, I think there is a bit of a turnaround. But I think again, as more and more people come out and talk about this stuff and let kids know from the get go, you know what, being an artist, being a creative person is valid.
Yeah.
It's important. You need to follow your heart. You
Absolutely.
need to follow your bliss. It's your fucking birthright.
Absolutely.
To be happy and to find what it is that you want to do in life.
Yeah.
And I think the more and more people bring that message forward and let it be, but I think also, as you said, show kids that, listen, this is possible because you've done it, I've done it, and there are others that have done it.
Yeah.
So if we can do it, what's stopping you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And show them how it's done.
Precisely. And
you've got to see examples.
Share your journey.
Yeah.
Let them know what worked, what didn't work,
Yeah.
and be fucking honest about it, man.
Totally.
Be truthful about, this is how I fucked up. This is why I fucked up.
Yeah.
So don't repeat those mistakes. Make some new ones.
Yeah.
It's okay. Mistakes are fucking great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then tell us about it.
Yeah.
And tell other people about it.
Yeah. That's it.
That's what Einstein said. He said, the secret to genius is to double your mistake rate.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, again, going back to traditional education that teaches us that you can't make mistakes or that mistakes are bad.
Yeah. And everything's marked. You see, I think that's one of the problems in traditional schooling is that, if you do say a maths test or a chemistry test, they can mark that because 1 + 1 = 2. There's no variation.
Yeah.
Whereas art, creativity, how do you measure creativity?
Well, yeah, you really can't.
You can't, exactly. So they can't standardise it, which means they can't put you in a box and categorise you and say, okay, well, young Mikey here, he got 80% in his maths test. He's fucking clever, A, and you're going to go off to university. You're going to fucking have a career. You're going again this linear thing, which is just a bullshit.
Because they can't put the arts in a box. They won't support it.
No, but even see the government. I know that Labor governments traditionally in this country have been more open to but even so, they're still, the trend still seems to be like this diluting of art still. It's almost, in some respects, it almost feels like it's a token gesture. We better do it because there has to be some kind of representation. But we're going to do the fucking minimum to be seen as doing something for art and to be seen as if we give a fuck about art. But again, it's always about dollars, isn't it? Dollars and bottom line and profit. But again, how do you value happiness? How do you value contentment? How do you value satisfaction in your job and in your life? They can't put that on a balance sheet.
No.
So therefore, it's hard for them to go to some fucking funding committee and justify it, and because everything's about a report and fucking and research and fucking pie charts and feasibility studies, and then the feasibility to the feasibility study to work out whether the other feasibility study is feasible. And, you know what I mean? There's fucking bureaucracy and red tape and shit.
And that I think that's always going to be an issue in the arts, and it's just something that we have as practitioners. We've just got to deal with it and stand up for what we believe in even more and be stronger. Keep lobbying. There's some great lobby groups like Music Victoria that lobby government to get more support for music, and they've been doing that. So, that's always going to be an issue. I think as artists, we have to just not let it worry us too much and keep focusing on what we want to do and keep getting better at it and keep trying to benefit the lives of others from what we do. Yeah. Which in turn helps us as individuals.
Now, one thing that always struck me about you from the time I met you is that you were always very focused and very driven. You're always positive, glass half full kind of guy. And I didn't know this until much later, and I guess probably you guys don't know, but Mike's dad, is he still? But he was a motivational speaker.
Yeah, he still is. Yeah, Robert.
Robert Elrington.
Yeah.
So tell me, growing up with your dad, did you find that was an influence, or was it something that you, being because kids see their parents a certain light, was that something you rejected, or do you think just somehow by osmosis it rubbed off on you?
No, it was a big influence, absolutely, and it definitely rubbed off on me. I can remember from the age of about 11 or 12, Dad would have like Anthony Robbins videos playing, another older guy, Old Man Dino, motivational speaker from America, and he's got a whole heap of, you know, big speakers from over there that he's watched and has videos of, and they were playing in the house from
morning till fucking noon till
all
night.
the time.
Yeah.
You know, as young as I can remember, even like, you know, 8 or 9 years old, there was that stuff going on. So yeah, that was definitely a big influence, and I liked that I had that. I appreciate that I had that, and I think that helped shaped me as a person in what I do. Because yes, while that was going on, I also had that him and Mum had a very turbulent marriage and got divorced when I was 12, and yeah, I was always surrounded by a dysfunctional family, but there was definitely that motivational, positive attitude influence from Dad, and without that, I don't know, I don't think I'd be the same person that I am, because I think that sort of showed me at a young age. When you're at that age, you soak up so much more information. Yeah. You're just like a sponge, and stuff like that, when it's getting thrown at you constantly, you can take it in and really absorb it, and it really showed me the importance of a positive attitude, and having a can-do mindset, and yes, things can get done. You can go out and do what you want to do, when you find a way to make it work.
Tell me, when you told your dad you wanted to be a muso, so he was completely supportive of you and right behind it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
totally.
Awesome, man. That's great.
Music for me sort of started a little bit later. I always wanted to be an athlete when I was, like, first thing was football, cricket. Then I was right into tennis. I was playing tournaments
really?
in Adelaide as
I didn't know that.
tennis player. And then I got into basketball. I was playing Division 1 basketball and in the state squad for basketball in Adelaide.
Wow.
And then I got a rowing scholarship because they used to have people that would come, talent scouts that would come around to high schools and just pick out tall people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're a big. How tall? 6 what?
6'5".
6'5". Yeah, you're a big unit, man.
Yeah, 140 kilos.
Wow.
So I did the rowing thing for a little while, and because I thought rowing could be my ticket to the Olympics, but I didn't really enjoy. I got sick of it after a while. And I'd been playing guitar throughout all of those sports. Music was always second to that. And when I quit rowing, I was 17 and I just fell madly in love with blues music.
Yeah. So who are the earliest influences on
Buddy
you?
Guy was definitely a big one.
Yeah.
I got to see a Buddy Guy concert when I was 15. Good friend of mine, his dad, Adrian Bone, was the promoter of Buddy Guy's tour.
Yeah.
And when you're 15, and at the time I didn't know who Buddy Guy was, but my mate just comes up to me one day and says, "Oh, do you want to go see Buddy Guy? And we'll get you backstage. You can meet him." And I'd never heard blues music before. I didn't know who this guy was, but I thought, fuck it, yeah, I'll go along and met him. He's just the sweetest guy. Yeah. And it was a fucking mind-blowing show at Debenham Theatre in Adelaide.
Was that your first gig? Was that the first gig you ever saw?
First,
excuse me.
I think it was. First gig in an adult venue.
Yeah.
That wasn't like a high school battle of the bands type thing. And yeah.
You never forget your first gig, do you?
Nah, man, not that one. And especially because I wasn't just a regular punter. I got to go backstage and meet the artist before the gig and meet him after and meet his band, and my mate was the Suns promoter, so I had a good in there. And
yeah, man.
It was just, as a 15-year-old that had never seen any of this stuff before,
it's mind-blowing, isn't it?
It was another fucking world, man, that I got to say, I was definitely drawn to it.
Yeah. There's a certain I think there's a certain magic when you see your first, big proper gig.
Yeah.
I think for me, mine was seeing the Angels and Meatloaf play at Festival Hall, 1977.
Wow.
And just blew my fucking mind,
That
mate.
would have been loud.
It was loud. It was awesome. It was raucous. But when you're young and you see this shit, it's magic. It's like you've been a kid again.
Yeah.
And there's a mystery behind it, and it's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You just become enchanted by the whole thing.
It's inspiring.
Yeah. And I guess as you get older, especially once you understand the whole mechanics behind live shows and concerts and stuff like that. Yeah. And I remember the time before I learned about audio engineering, when I was about 18, as a kid listening to records, one of the great mysteries that always just captivated me was panning.
Yeah.
All right.
Left and right.
How the fuck did it go from here
to there,
to there?
and back,
and then and when I asked it, what's up? And he's, oh well, it's a pan. It's just that. He goes whip, whip, and I was just like, oh,
there it is.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it? And from just like the magic had gone from that moment.
You wish he didn't tell you.
Yeah, in a way, I said no. I would have rather remained fucking ignorant.
Yeah.
To the whole thing.
Yeah.
I guess as you get to know more, it becomes more magical in a different kind of way, because then when you can start creating things and
well,
stuff.
Understanding mechanics of it, which you can't understand when you see it for the first time, because you don't know how they're making that sound.
Yeah.
That pan. It sounds fucking cool as, but you don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, there's something about remaining, sometimes I just wish you could just remain a fucking child, just to see, so a whole world just is this beautiful, magical place, and
I think you can.
I think you can too. It's not exactly the same, but in a different kind of way.
No, it changes. But I think one thing that kills the spirit of a lot of us adults as we get older and more ingrained into the day-to-day realities of life and paying bills and financial responsibilities, all that stuff. And I'm not saying you ignore all that. We've got bills to pay and all that.
No doubt.
But one sad thing I find is that we lose those childlike sensibilities and that the true essence of just having fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Go out and fucking do something that you enjoy, that you have fun. Kick a football, go play tennis, go play a guitar. Even if you suck at it, who cares? Just do something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And that becomes it seems to become so much harder for adults to do as they get older, and
because we're not supposed to do that. You see, we're not allowed to do that because we're grown up now.
Yeah,
and we can't fuck about. But I imagine you with having little ones, you get to see your kids grow up and you engage them and you see it firsthand, and it takes you back to that, and you're doing it, I guess, vicariously through your children. You know, because you're getting off on. I remember the first Christmas where my eldest son was old enough to kind of grasp the idea that it was Christmas and there was Santa and shit, and I'll never forget it, just getting off and watching him get off, opening the present and just being delighted at this thing that is like, fuck, this came from me, from this mythical fucking dude, and noticing that the cookie was eaten and the fucking carrot was gone and the milk was half drunk, was drunk, and it's just, man, it's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it certainly puts a new perspective on it. I
think that happens a lot when you get older. I think as I remember marrying my dad when he was in palliative care, seeing him, my little daughter made him a cupcake, and just to see my dad eat this cupcake like he was a little kid, and it was a beautiful thing to watch, So I think it's true. It's almost like this full circle thing that goes on. You're a child. The child in you gets fucking everything gets fucking knocked out of you, and then you get older, and then you get to that age where you start becoming more like a child, and
I think if you can retain those childlike sensibilities and instill them into what you do, for work. Doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to be a creative or a musician. You could be a fucking accountant. But if you can retain some of those and instill them into what you do and have fun with what you do, you're going to be a lot fucking better at it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because when you enjoy doing something, and you can just get lost in it, whether it's fucking printing out balance sheets or writing a song, or writing up, court documents because you're about to go in and sue someone, whatever the case may be. When you enjoy it, you're going to be instantly better at it. Yeah. Because you're engaged with it emotionally as well as just mentally thinking, I should be doing this. I don't really feel connected to it, but I should be doing it anyway. Yeah. That's never going to work anywhere near as well as the guy next to you who's engaged emotionally and mentally. Whatever practice or field of endeavour that they're doing, if you enjoy it, you love what you do, there's no reason you can't be fucking great at it.
Yeah. As the adage goes, mate, do what you love what you do.
Yeah.
And I remember my grandma once was sharing that with me, as a youngster, and said it was just important, just go out there and find what you love to do. Don't worry about what your dad's saying.
Yeah.
Just, wink, 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 do your thing. And the one thing I remember I never forgot was she said, focus on your one and your zeros will follow. So just get down with the fundamentals. repetition being the mother of skill. Just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And over time, you just have to get better at it.
Absolutely.
And as you get better at something, then all of a sudden you're creating something that has some value, and then you got something to present to the world that people want.
Others will see that.
Others will see that, and others do your bidding for you, and that's getting that word of mouth out there, and so that's why it's important that we encourage kids just to fucking find what it is that they love, and not, oh, I'll do this, but I'm going to have a backup plan at the ready because I want to have the safety net. No, fuck that. Fuck plan B.
Yeah.
You know, no plan B.
My saying is, fuck plan B. If you have to think about plan B, you don't have enough fucking faith in plan A.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
And some people go, oh, that's bullshit, Mike. That's esoteric wank. That's not practical. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but if you look at, do you think Steve Jobs was thinking about a backup plan when he started Apple? Do you think he was thinking about working as a lawyer or a doctor or something that offered a little bit more financial security? Hell fucking no, man.
No.
That dude was just, and I look up to a lot of people like that, entrepreneurs, people that have started, small businesses have grown to large businesses, musicians, artists, athletes, people that have really evolved and grown into something from nothing. We all start.
Absolutely.
And I look at people like that and go, what is it about them that's got them there and everyone else is here? And it's all in the mind.
Correct.
It's all in the mind and the application of what is in your mind in your day-to-day practice, whatever you do. And that's something that I always find very inspiring. So how are they doing this? Yeah. They are totally fucking focused on that. There's no plan B. It's all about plan A. But within plan A, there's probably 50 separate plans.
Well, that's exactly right. If there is a plan B, it's just the fact that okay, we're a little bit kind of off the projected course, but this is going to be this little side winding thing that's just going to get us back on track. So it's not a plan B as in a new plan. It's just that little, it's just that little kind of deviation that ultimately still will take you where you are.
The number one singular thing that you want to do.
And if you live it as if you're already owning it, like if you can see the roadmap of your life and know that wherever it is you're heading, you're definitely going to get there. You're definitely going to get there, and it's an inevitability that you're going to be there. So even though you're meant to, you know that you're going to end up to the right, and the course of life is taking you to the left, that's where people start freaking out and start fucking, jumping off the boat or just forcing things.
Giving up.
Yeah, rather than standing. You know what? I know I'm going to go there. So right now, this is where I need to be because I need lessons to learn or experiences to have that will set me up for the next fucking step, and then that all of a sudden catapults you back quicker than as if you were trying to, do it more by force, and that's where it's a hard thing to do, man, for people just to surrender to things. Just again, not surrender as in I'm just completely fucking letting go and letting it just the wind take me wherever, but just trusting in knowing that it's going to work out.
It's believing in the unseen. It's that commitment to the building of a world that doesn't yet exist.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, that is always fucking fascinating, because you've got to be attracted to where you can go, no matter what you're doing. It's great to be where you are, but always be looking for where can I go next. Believe in what is yet to be seen by others.
Yeah.
Because every fucking business out there, big, small, every band, even successful bands, every mastering studio, every recording studio, there was a point in time when that didn't exist. And it took someone like you or him, it took someone to go, right, the odds are stacked against me, I don't have enough money, not enough people will buy me or hire me to produce their records, but fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway because I believe that I can add value and what I'm going to do is good for myself and for my clients or fans, whatever the case may be, and they went out and did it.
Yeah. You got to respect those kind of people, man. And it doesn't necessarily have to be at a big scale. Like,
it doesn't.
Even if you, if you can, I've always said that my definition of success is just getting up in the morning and going to bed at night and doing what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
So, living richly rather than just being rich.
Yeah.
So even for people who can sustain a living doing what they love.
Yep.
They're not beholden to anyone. They don't have to punch a clock on and clock off and shit like that. And they're not those virtual slaves. I mean, yes, as a freelance guy, you have many bosses because every time you play at a venue, the owner of the venue,
I got a new one every night.
you know, and even your audience in many respects because they're hopefully for the most part paying money.
Yep.
You know, so they think, okay, you know, I paid my fucking 2 shillings, so bring it on.
Yeah.
You know,
deliver it.
Give me something.
I love the challenge of doing that. You know, with new people every night.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing what I love to do.
Yeah.
If you live your life on purpose to doing what you love, and getting good enough at it, so that other people will hire you and support you. Yeah. I think that's a pretty fucking good place to be. Whether you're making 50 grand a year, 500 grand a year, 5 million a year, as long as you're making enough to pay your bills and, you know, keep reinvesting back into what you do. That's a great place to be, and that's somewhere I try. Any artist that I work with, especially in the studio, because often the case, and you probably see this with so many bands and artists out there, they put all this time, money into making a record, and then what happens now?
Yeah,
we've got no manager, we've got no booking agent, no one knows how to book gigs, and they've just dropped 20 grand on a fucking record that no one's going to buy, or they're not going to connect with. And one thing I like to do is help that when they're in that what happens now phase. I'll say, this is what happens now, bitches. You get on your fucking you get off your ass and you get on the fucking road and you work hard and you bust your ass to build, you know, one fan at a time. And you should be out every fucking weekend. Yeah. You know, one weekend you're in Shepparton, next week you're in Bendigo, next week you're in Cairns, next week you're in Brisbane, next week you're in Sydney, next week you're in Auckland in New Zealand, next week you're in fucking New York. You got to get out there and work your fucking cunt off. Yeah. To connect with those people, give them a good time, and slowly build it.
Build it from there.
And that, if you look at any successful band or artist, especially these days now, because you know, the record industry as we used to know it has pretty much died. Yeah. So we can't rely on it. So it's all touring. Yes, in a way, the business has gone full circle to what it was when it first started.
Absolutely, yeah.
When there were no records.
And
it was all live gigs.
But also, even then, you know, it was about singles. It wasn't really albums, just singles. So anyway,
and it was just touring. So
on that note, my friend. So listen, before we go out, because you're the first. Well, in the new podcast anyway, first musical artist. So do you want to leave us out with the song?
Sure, man.
And before you do, just want to say thank you, brother. Thank you, it was so good to have you, man.
Pleasure, man.
Bring it in. It was awesome, man. Such a good chat. We'll have to get you back.
Oh, yeah.
We'll definitely get you back, man. So I'll let you, I'm going to get our shot. I'll let Mike do his thing, and I'll leave by saying, as I always do, thanks for watching, and please remember, be nice to each other, but more importantly, be nice to yourselves, okay? I love you fuckers. I'm out of here. I'm going to leave you with Mike Elrington to take care of business and see us out. And thanks again, Mike. We'll see you soon. I'm out of here.
Separate ways, but we find each other here today. Lonely, so content we were with our lives, which love can disturb. And now here we are. Look at how we've come so far, and now here we are, just two lucky stars. We met one fateful night when I saw you looking oh so bright. We had every reason not to be, but somehow found a light we both could see. And now here we are. Look at how we've come so far, and now here we are, just two stars. It's gonna take some time for us to see everything that we need to be. It's a long road that we venture down, to give it a time. We'll come around, give it a time. We'll come around. So here we stand for what we are, just two souls arriving on some star. It's so true, true when I say I will love you every day. And now here we are. Look at how we've come so far, and now here we are, just two lucky stars.